Too many bags on me, too many girls on me. Now I'm gonna flex on you.
Before we go further, I just want to point out the fact that Corey is eating a whole bagel, plain, no cream cheese, no butter,
and
no honey.
it's like eating bread.
It's just a weird sight.
Sorry, yeah, typical Nigerian man.
Yes, that's what I am. I'm a typical Nigerian
But
man.
bagel is even harder than bread. At least bread is a little softer.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Before we go on though, we have a guest today, so we're going to be skipping today's heroes and villains. It's coming back, by the way. Jesus. It is coming back. But we have a special guest today. I'm going to introduce him in a second, but before I do, Yeti would like to issue a retraction from a statement she made a few weeks ago.
First of all, this is definition of I too no go wrong.
No. It's not an I too no go wrong. No, and Power, as far as I'm concerned, was a power company. Okay. But I didn't know. I don't know a lot about Nigeria politics and what's going on in Nigeria. Fair. So I thought about what Empower means to me when I looked it up. Is what I said. But apparently, Empower also means what?
It's like a group in Nigeria. They're supposed to empower the youth, and they're supposed to
empower. Why didn't they just say that?
They did empower.
No.
It's a government.
Oh,
it's
we have the guest caller.
Oh yeah, that's our guest. Wait, Lanre, before you go on, let me introduce you really quickly. So Lanre is a very good friend of mine. I've known him since high school. I've known him since GSS1 actually. Brief introduction.
He went to ISI?
Yeah, he went to ISI. Cool. He was my set.
The old people.
Lanre is an MD here based in the US.
Oh.
He's
Dr. Lanre.
Yes, Dr. Lanre. He currently resides in the Charlotte area. Is that correct? Lanre, please, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, that is correct.
He's a multilingual, fluent in English and Yoruba, and is intermediate in Spanish. By the way, I'm reading Lanre's profile right now on this website. I know the intermediate in Spanish is you probably know like
Hola,
2 words.
¿Cómo está?
This guy knows like, and you guys talk about I'm intermediate in Spanish.
You gotta do what you gotta do, bro.
In his spare time, Dr. Jimoh likes to play soccer, golf, surf, lie. He said he likes to surf. I know Lanre is nowhere near the beach.
There's no beach in Ibadan. Growing up, so.
He likes to ski.
Oh, wow.
He likes to ski.
I mean, he could have taken it up when he got here.
I'm sure. But Lanre is a bullshitter, yo. And of course, he travels internationally a lot. I consider one of my really, really good friends. He's and I see him as Lanre is someone that I've seen as like could be a potential president of Nigeria.
Oh,
wow. This is someone
Okay.
that just in terms of his knowledge base, this is someone that actually back when he was like in GSS1, he wrote a book about Nigerian presidents, like historically.
Nice.
Like he's been a geek like that for a very long time.
That's a good thing. That's a great thing.
So he's very, very steeped in Nigerian history. Of course, we disagree on a lot of things. But that's part of why I brought him here today. Because I was hoping to get a breakdown of Nigeria's current political landscape. So Lanre, feel free to chime in, please.
Yes, sir.
So explain to me what the Empower thing is again.
Sure. First of all, I want to thank you guys for having me on your show. I'm a big fan since inception. So more power to you guys. Yeti, Wale, Mr. G. You guys are
let them know, man.
Let me just put in there. For sure.
Hi,
So,
Dr. Lanre.
Corey, thanks for tearing up my profile on the website. I do surf and I do ski. I enjoy those two activities, and yes, I picked them up since I moved to the US.
Good for you. That's
Corey,
more than Corey can say. Exactly.
Yeah, we came here 16 years ago. That's enough
yeah,
time to pick up
no,
new
you got here before
hobbies.
me. You got here 02, and I think you left as soon as you got out of ISI. I came like the year after.
Okay, but he can do a lot more than
okay.
you can right now. He can ski, he can surf.
Yeah, whatever.
That's why you hate on him.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention also medical education, Duke University School of Medicine.
Oh, wow. All right.
His residency, he got it from internal medicine, Vanderbilt University.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
His fellowship, gastroenterology,
Gastroenterologist. Okay. all
Brown
right.
University.
Hey, Dr.
Okay.
Lanre.
Brown University.
All right.
And sorry, ladies, he's married. 2 kids.
Good for you.
2 kids, boy and a
Dr.
girl.
Lanre.
You know.
Thank you very much for completing the picture.
In case they were wondering.
So yeah, let's go to Empower. Empower is it's a government-sponsored entrepreneurship program directed towards the youth. It was an initiative of Buhari and Osinbajo, and Osinbajo has really been running it. And what they try to do is help young people start up their companies, start up their businesses, give them very low interest loans. Some of them get grants outrightly to fund and start. So it's empowered maybe about 3,000 entrepreneurs all over Nigeria in the past 3 years. So it's actually had some success. So that's what Empower is.
Oh, wow, that's great. But how do you qualify for that? Like, as
there's a whole application process. Yeah, there's a website. You put in your business plan, you put in your information. They vet it, they interview you or whatever, and then they decide who they want to give this awards to. As far as I know, it's a whole committee basically. So
is there a reason they haven't been pushing it like that? Because is
there a reason why
they haven't really been pushing it out there? Because I actually never heard of it before, and we only see the anti-Buhari things or stuff like that.
Well, if you lived in Nigeria, I'm sure you would have probably heard of it. If you're in Abuja, I mean, if you follow the Buhari handle on Twitter, follow Tolu Ogunlesi, who does his digital communications. They're constantly tweeting and talking about it. But you're right, they could do a little bit more, noise making about it. But it's a small part of all of the things that the president has been trying to do.
Okay.
So so basically, full disclosure, I'm not a card-carrying member of any political party.
Okay.
Are you a fan of Buhari?
Am I a fan? I was in 2015. For sure, I thought he was a better candidate than Jonathan.
Same here.
But the past 4 years,
lesser of evils.
I'm sorry?
I said, in a way, he was like the lesser of 2 evils, in a way.
Exactly. I mean, at that time, we were being robbed by Devani and all these people. I mean, they were stealing like crazy, and we just had to stop that. But in the past 3.5 years, I feel like there's been a little bit of disillusioning, and I'm feeling a little jaded because the anti-corruption war, I think, has been very ineffective and selective. Basically, if you are, with the APC, they cover you up. The minute you leave the party, they go after you. It's not the right way to fight corruption. And so that, to me, is sort of the biggest letdown from this president. So I guess we'll just talk about the current the election
and the current landscape and I want to understand, because I feel like right now in Nigeria there's this one candidate, potential candidate that's emerging. He hasn't declared yet, Saraki. I feel like he's making all the moves. I'm seeing this growing movement behind him, which is a little bit disturbing, because it's like Saraki is in
all the stuff that's been going on with him, right?
No, he's not a saint.
But there are people that are
pushing
behind
him.
They are behind him. Like there are people, I see them, supporters of him.
Effective or active compared to Buhari that has been quiet.
But didn't he just have a lot of controversy around? Like there was a bunch of scandal and
stuff.
Had controversy. And he's
so
still going on.
Do you think PDP
to
would let him run instead of Atiku?
I think he's going to give Atiku a good fight.
Okay.
I think he may get the nod over Atiku, and that would mean Atiku would basically go to another party, and will probably split the PDP loyalty. So I think one of my recent tweets was about how APC is sort of sweeping all these people out, and I'm not sure if the PDP umbrella is large enough for all these defectors. So everybody's going to the PDP right now, but what I see happening is there will be further fragmentation of the PDP because I don't see all these people agreeing and coming together. There's just too many strong personalities now under the PDP. So I think there's still so much more defection and changes that are going to happen. I don't think we're done yet.
Okay. With the recent thing that happened in the National Assembly, right? Can you kind of take us through that? This Daura fella, who used to be
last week.
DSS.
Yeah, last week was mad, man. Last week was mad. I don't know if you guys followed.
I followed.
Basically,
I haven't. So for me, please explain what happened.
So the sequence of events, I think, started after the new APC chairman was elected. So I don't know if you guys remember Adams Oshiomhole, former governor of Edo State, became the APC chairman. When he became the APC chairman, his first sort of call was like, look, Buhari is going to be our candidate. Buhari is going to choose his running mate. Basically, he empowered Buhari so much that so many people in the APC at that time, including Saraki, were feeling like they were being discounted.
Okay.
And so we saw a defection of a lot of senators.
There was about 16. Are you talking about before the 16 defectors last week?
Before the 16 defectors, we saw people like Dino, Melaye.
We
saw other people switch before. And so we started seeing the signs on the wall that basically Oshiomhole coming on board was going to basically be like, this is Buhari's party, basically solidifying Buhari's hold on the party.
Yeah.
And so when that first happened, and then some governors started grumbling too. And so last week we saw Tambuwal left APC, Suswam left APC. Those are the governors of Sokoto and Benue State, respectively. They left the APC. Eventually, the Senate president decided to leave APC as well. And now, Saraki is a very interesting figure. He's political enigma, basically. Because the truth is, he never really left PDP, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was a founding member of PDP. He's been there forever. The only reason he left was because he and Jonathan couldn't see eye to eye. He became Senate president mostly because PDP supported him. And then, so he basically went back to PDP.
Yeah.
And so when he did that, the president took off, left Nigeria for medical leave.
Mysteriously.
And the following day, we know he goes to London every time he sees doctors, but it was very interesting, the timing of all of these events, because this was a big deal, and ideally, I don't think the president should have left when the number 3 man just left his party. But maybe he had a plan, maybe he didn't. We don't know. All we know is that the next day, the DSS director, and the DSS is the Department of Secret Services, so similar to FBI in this country, they have a lot of autonomy.
Yeah.
So they basically moved into the premises.
So
of
the
House
DSS in a sense would be like the Pompeo.
FBI. So that would be.
Oh,
like
sorry,
Chris
FBI.
Wray
Okay.
FBI. Yeah.
Okay.
No, not Secretary of State. No.
I forgot. Sorry, Pompeo has moved to Secretary of State, but Pompeo was CIA
yes,
director.
he was director of CIA. Correct.
Okay, so it'll be like the Rod Rosenstein, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Go on.
So basically, this guy decided to move in, and while he was there, his voice prevented the APC senators from entering the premises.
Sorry. So he was inside the NAS?
NAS, yes. His voice was there. He didn't go. Director now. He wouldn't go physically.
Okay.
His voice basically barricaded the whole place.
Okay.
So you had people like PDP senators like Murray Bruce, Dino Melaye, basically putting it on Facebook Live that, hey, we are activists, they are disenfranchising us, they are trying to...
Bruce, I can't stand Bruce also. I think he's a showman.
I know. Anyway, so these guys were making a big show of it that, hey, your president is like a military man, he's trying to, obstruct democracy or whatever. So basically, the APC Senate, for what we understand, the plan was for the APC senators to be selectively elected into the chambers. And if they can form a quorum, they can impeach the Senate president. Because the Senate president just left the party. Now, unfortunately, they weren't even able to get enough APC senators in the building. So the whole thing became like a failed coup on Saraki.
And there's no way Buhari wouldn't have known this was about to go on. This is his freaking FBI director here, right? I mean, there's no way he wouldn't have known that this was...
well, at least I know for sure Shomale will have known about it.
For sure.
So basically, all of this is left to speculation because, as you know, the DSS is very tight. They're secret keepers, anyways. But all I'll tell you is that Daura is a Katsina man, same place as the president. He was selected by the president, and he's very loyal to the president. So did he do this behind the president, or did he do this to impress the president when the president got back? Nobody knows. But what we hear is that the APC leadership knew about it, and that's Ashomale.
So with the VP, I forgot his name, Osibanjo, with him firing the DSS guy, is that just for show, do you think, or he really was fired?
No, the guy is fired. Okay. The guy is fired. The question is, was he scapegoated?
Okay.
That's
a better.
Somebody had to take a fall, right?
Yeah.
Because the Twitterverse was like going off. People were like posting stuff and like tagging Oshibajo personally, like, "Hey, Oshibajo, you are the acting president. This is happening in your country. This is not democratic. This is not okay. You got to do something about it." And I think Oshibajo at that moment felt pressured. He's like, "Look, the goal of this nonsense was to impeach Saraki. The goal failed. So definitely now there is blowback. It's either we basically fire this guy, let him take the fall, or the president and I will suffer." So basically somebody had to suffer. Somebody had to go. So we don't know if this was like Oshibajo was really angry and didn't know about it, and it's like, this is crazy. Because that's a statement he put out. It's like, this is not okay. We will make sure that people who did this are brought to justice. Like, he came down hard, and he's like, I have fired this guy, blah, blah. So Oshibajo basically saved the day for the president.
Got it.
Wow.
That might have been the plan, too, the backup plan.
Yeah. So it was very interesting.
Because it would be hard if the president himself had fired the guy.
Yeah, it would have.
So
wait, so let me ask you something. So what do you think about the presidential aspirants? Like, let's. I want to kind of focus on maybe 2-3 of them that we definitely want to keep our eyes out for.
So I've compiled a list of, I think, 5 people here.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And I think we'll try to go through them quickly. I'm